Hello. Hi. Right, we have 4 people there now. Good morning, everyone. If you can see me and hear me loud and clear, can you just give me a thumbs up? And perhaps you can on your video as well. Your video and your camera. Right, we see Saiful here. And there's Tong here. There's Poon. Right. And we have Ki, is it? Ki Chung Ao. And then we have Rose here. We have Norman here. Yeah, so can we have your videos on, please, since it's a Sembang Santai thing. It's good to have your videos and your audios on so that we can speak to each other. Hi, Norman. Can you hear me? Good morning. Hi, Farid. Can you hear me? Right, we have about 9 people now in. Just give me a thumbs up on your cameras and audios if you can see me and hear me clearly.
You. Oh.
Because I'm not sure if you can hear me. You can just give me or message me and say everything is clear, then we can start the session now. Right, we have Poon. Hi, Mr. Poon. Good morning. Or Miss, is it Miss Poon or Mr. Poon? Can I just have your video on or your hello to hear you? All right. Okay, we have Key here now. Great. Okay. All right. What we're going to speak today morning is about a topic which is very close to my heart. Okay, I would say that it could be a very sensitive topic, but then I think it is also time for us to be bold enough to acknowledge these things. Right. So what happens is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, this is the buzzword now, right? It's like the buzzword now in all the industries. It's all over the world. And over the recent times, we have heard about uh, Black Lives Matters in the US and everything. So what has happened is this has actually brought along the need for certain organizations to actually emphasize on these issues of diversity, inclusion, and equity. So, when we talk about diversity, of course, being in our country, diversity, we normally confine it to race, ethnicity, and maybe religious background. Okay, but diversity actually goes more than that. It goes more than that. It goes to a person's sexual orientation. It goes to a person's physical looks. It goes to the extent of a person's nationality, a person's thinking, a person's education background. So it's a whole lot of a thing. So it's just not confined to the very things which we think about here. Now, I know a lot of organizations are kind of trying to attempt to bring diversity into the organization. And being in our country, being in Malaysia, I would say we are actually very blessed. We are very blessed with a very diverse community. But yet again, we do see these issues in organization as how to bring in more diversity into our organizations. So what we're going to have today is we're going to have a Sembang Santai thing. We're going to be speaking more on this. So I hope you can have your audios on. I understand that because this is animate, I will not be able to see your faces. But let's have a discussion. So this is not a typical training or webinar thing where I keep talking. Your participation is important. We have 9 of you here. So it's a very good forum, which I think Excel has actually organized to bring in people of different backgrounds. I do hope that everyone is, yeah, I can see that many of you are from, some are from sales and some are from HR, probably some are management consultants. So it's a very good background for us to actually share ideas and our thoughts on this as to how to actually bring about this and have some improvement. So as we all know, as I said, diversity is about being diverse, in every aspect. And what is inclusion? Inclusion is bringing making a person feel included, all right, as the word goes by. So it doesn't mean that if an organization is diverse, you have diversity in your organization, that inclusion must be there. Now, inclusion is something you create. It doesn't happen. Diversity can happen. For instance, let's say that you say that you want more women in your as part of your workforce. Now, what happens is when you have women in your workforce, but then you are not creating that space. Okay, perhaps what needs to be done is when you have a more women workforce, understanding that they may be mothers and that probably new mothers, have a lactation room, have a nursing room. Now, when you don't create that, that inclusion is not being created. Okay, so that's just one part of the. Just a little example of how inclusion is there. So it doesn't mean if you're diverse, you need to be you need to have inclusion there. You need to create that, and you need to be genuine about creating that. Okay, so of course we know the impact of having diversity, having inclusion and equity, what brings on. Many researchers have shown that you have more innovation, you have more creativity, you have more employee engagement, which at the end results profitability. So that's pretty clear. We'll not get into that. But what the discussion today is going to be, and what I'm personally interested is how you actually bring about this, and what are the challenges I think we face in bringing about this diversity, inclusion, and equity onto our organization. So I'm just going to give a little bit of a talk here and there, and I would like to hear your voices after this. If right, okay. So equity. Now, what do you think? What when we talk about equity, what is equity all about? So you must understand that equity is not equality, right? Like now, people, women go around talking about women equality and gender equality and so on. So when you talk about equality, equality is not about, you're not talking about physiological if equality. Now we understand men are different, women are different, physiologically, physically, that's different. But what we are talking about here now is equality in terms of cerebral opportunity, intellectually. Now, of course, Malaysia has been one of the countries within the region. In fact, I think we're the only country who've been pushing for about 30% of women to be on board. But sadly, we are not there yet. So where is the disparity here? Where are we not doing it right? So these are things which we'll go along to discuss. So equity is about bringing on policies and processes in your organization to uplift a certain minority group or underrepresented group. For instance, you may have a global workforce which may not be very you may have English as your main language in your transactions, in your businesses, in your workforce, your processes. But you may have a group which may not be so well versed with that. So how do you bring equity into this? How do you bring inclusion into this? Is perhaps devising it in a language which they understand, processes and policies in a language which they understand. So that's about bringing, equity in pay. Now, I do understand there was a participant, I think it was, who is it? Nazuria. Nazuria, I'm not sure if Nazuria is on here today. All right. Now, what Nazuria said was, when I say what is holding back um, from maximizing diverse groups of people, Now, interestingly, she said what's holding back was the salary demand for higher position is different. Now, I'm yet to see what she actually meant that. Now, when you say equity in pay, okay, you're not talking about, it doesn't mean when a CEO is earning a 20K, someone in an executive level should also earn 20K. Now, that's not equity about, okay? Equity need to be in line with the job. Okay, the responsibilities which come with it, the risk which come with it, the accountability this person needs to take. Okay, that's equity. But if you were to say like, okay, in terms of, I always have these issues when I was working those days in the corporate world and everything. So I used to have these arguments with management, or even I go loggerheads with them, and I say, okay, I feel like things like, okay, when you offer compassionate leave, when you offer parental leave, that should not be segregated in terms of job grades. Because when you say compassionate leave or bereavement leave, be it you are a CEO or be it you are a driver or messenger or an office boy in that organization, bereavement goes the same for everybody. All right. If someone at a higher level has lost a mother or father and he needs to be bereaving and be grieving for that time for about 3 days or so, and same goes, nothing lesser, for someone who is lesser. So one interesting organization which I think I went for interview once way back was Maxis. So very interestingly, what I was told by the recruiter was annual leave goes across the board to everyone, because if you need to go on a vacation for 10 or 12 or 15 days, I need that as well. So that's where equity comes in, right? But you got to be also very careful on how you actually treat equity. Just because you say equity should be there, benchmark should not be lowered. Okay, you may have two candidates. One could be a male candidate, and one is a female candidate or a staff who are due for promotion. But just because you want to achieve equity, it does not mean that you need to lower your benchmark. Okay, everyone needs to have that same level of standards before they want to achieve something. Right. So there were questions which was posed to you all over the Google Forms, and your ideal or your aspiration as to how organizations would look like if it would be more diverse. So can I hear some opinions and how it's being done at your end, and what would you like to do further? Can I hear some opinions from your end, please? Perhaps you can on your audio, and we can have some chat now. Right, I see Chisaifu here. Chisaifu, would you like to share with us your thoughts on this? And Miss Poon, have you found your mic? If you can on your mic, then we can share your thoughts as well. Okay, I was very we see who else? We see Norman here. Hi, Norman. Would you like to share your thoughts and what you aspire to be as an organization, in your organization or in an organization which you would want to see? How do you want to see diversity, inclusion, and equity be brought on to your organization? Uh, could you just on your mic and maybe we can all hear about that? And we have Key here. Hi, Key. Okay, let me just run through some of your responses here, which is very interesting, no doubt. Now, we have Key. Yes, Key, you're here. I was quite interested to know when you said that work-life balance. What would your organization look like if it was very diverse and be inclusive? And you said that work-life balance. So we would like to hear what do you mean by work-life balance? How do you see work-life balance to be one of the factors if your organization was diverse or be more inclusive? Yes, please do raise your hand and you can be invited to be on the stage so that we can hear you. And the other response was from, I'm not sure that this is Tong Wee Hong from Johnson Controls. Do we have Tong on here on board with us? Okay, I don't see. So that was also another response as what would we gain being a more diverse and equitable and inclusive organization? Also, it was the response was more work-life balance. So this is something I'm very curious to know as how does work-life balance come into the picture when you have when you say that you have a diverse workforce. So that's something interesting to know. So anyway, while we wait for Key to get on stage and share with us, so let's just see some of, as I said, of course, we know what it's going to bring about, right? What are the gains and benefits of being a more diverse and inclusive and be more an equitable organization. We know that. But despite knowing all that, why aren't we there yet? So what are the challenges? I think one of the biggest challenges we would face, or I would say that I personally would have faced during my work time would be, all right, now we have Poon. Poon says she's found it. Miss Poon has found it. All right, Miss Poon, can we hear you? Yes, you're coming on board. Great. Hi, Miss Poon.
Hi, morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm okay. Morning. Sorry, because I've never been MLab before.
It's okay. Technology is all new to us, and we are all getting used to it. So that's fine. All right.
Hold on.
Great to have you on. Great to have you on. Right. I can see that your responses as to what you aspire to be a more diverse organization is to have open culture and, of course, branding, right? To be an employer of choice. And you said high engagement, productivity, performance, and all right, lacking of drive from top management. So, tell me before we move on, Miss, are you someone from the HR or from the management?
I'm actually from the HR. HRT.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I
Right.
want to talk on your work-life balance because it is a struggle. Yeah,
Okay.
I am from the shipping industry, and I don't know if you guys are updated, but shipping is yeah, it's havoc now because we face port congestions, we face rollovers. Our staff are working till very late. So as much as I mean, we talk about work from home, but it's so gray now. When we first started, even I tend to skip lunch. It goes my lunch went into dinners, and then at the end of the day, you don't see sunlight anymore. So it
Correct.
was a struggle, but now that it has become sort of a norm, right? And you kind of think,
Yes.
oh, we are getting used to this now. But
Mm.
I am very concerned for my front lines because they
Okay.
are still struggling, and work-life balance is zip. You talk about motivation, you talk about engagement, you talk about just quality of life that's nil.
Mhm.
And we don't know how to help them. I mean, sure, the division head can say, oh, give us head count, but easier said than done. We can't just give you head count just like that. Especially with the economy like this, you need justification. There's so many things to consider before we give you a head count.
Correct.
Yeah. So work-life balance, I don't know. I mean, if anyone in the room can share this, I would really love to pick on your brain and see how do you guys do this, because because my teams are struggling. Yeah, the back end not so bad, but the front lines, the customer service, the documentation, the equipment team, right? Because our business is round the clock, right?
Okay.
Ships come in and go. They birth like in the wee hours of the morning. So operations are going round and round, all around. So it's very difficult. I'm trying to find some answers here to see if there are any ideas from the floor from yourself, right?
All right.
How can we do this? Yeah. We want
Okay.
to do a lot of engagement activities virtual, but we have these people who are struggling with day-to-day loads, to even want to join you in whatever activities, virtual or not, that you're gonna have. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So work-life balance is one of our main challenge right now.
I
Yeah.
do understand your challenges. I mean, this is, I think, not just in the shipping line, in many lines. Work-life balance is definitely a challenge. I've seen this happening in my house when my husband was working here. A great lunch goes into tea, goes into dinner and everything. But what we are talking about today is, yes, we will address that thing probably offline or what, or if someone could address this offline with Miss Poon would be great, as she said she would like to pick on your brains. What my concern was, or what I was very interested to know was, do you think this necessity would actually help our life balance? Because yes, parents have a workforce which has one, right? So how diversity and equity is going to work? Do you feel that is not the job distribution is not equal, or if your workforce diversified enough to catch up with is that what you feel? All right. Can you hear me, Miss Poon? Can't hear me that well, is it?
Yeah. Now it's slightly better. Yeah.
Okay, now it's better. Okay, as I said, what um what I was interested to know is how do you think that this diversity, okay, we're talking about diversity, inclusion, and being having equity, is going to be helping your workforce in achieving the work-life balance which you're aspiring for your workforce? Is it because your workforce is not? You think that your workforce is not diversified enough? Or there is no inclusion there? Where is it? I'm trying to understand how you're trying to bring in the work-life balance here now.
Um. Hmm. Inclusion. Can you expand on your inclusion? I mean, I've heard your first part on the inclusion, but I'm trying to connect your inclusion to the problem that I'm facing now.
The problem. Okay, right. Now, inclusion is it's actually to create the environment. Okay, as you said, yes, you want to have more engagement because you want them to have a sense of belonging, right? That's inclusion. Inclusion is about being heard. Are you listening to their problems now? Now, if they're coming to you and telling you that work-life balance is a problem now, let's try to tell them that, okay, we hear you. You know, that is the main thing about it. So you can have a very diverse workforce. So, you know, you can have different races there, different generations there, different of everything there. But if you are only listening to perhaps one part of your workforce, perhaps they are middle managers, and you're not listening to the lower level of staff. So that's not being inclusive. Being inclusive is listening to everyone. You see? So that's the inclusion part here. So where do you think it's lacking in order to actually address your work-life balance? So that was what I was very interested to know when I actually saw your response.
Okay. Okay, during the MCO, right, actually we've had sessions with all the teams, right? We call it the Let's Synergize team, right? And we put different departments together in order to solve issues. We also want, people to hear themselves out, so that we can work better when we are,
All right.
working from home. But the key thing that comes back is always about the demand of the job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Yes.
and the fact that the nature of our business, right, the
Mm-hmm.
environment right now, and also the insufficient headcount. Yeah, which is why for next year's budget we have actually reviewed and we are trying to put up requests from the GHQ, the global office, for permission for additional headcount. But until then, it's something that we have to deal with. But the interesting point is there's always a chicken and egg because customers are also very demanding. Yeah. Customers are also working from home, and for some reason, I think they're also working around the clock. So they could
Yes.
be contacting our people after office hours, and because of that, it impacts other teams. Because if it comes through customer service require the operation, the back-end operations to do amendment or whatnot in order to accommodate the customers. And then, of course, one simple thing we can do is, well, the customers are well educated that if they come back to us, after a certain time, we have the right not to entertain. But then again, business is so competitive. If we don't, they could bring the business somewhere else. If we are not going to do it, somebody's going to entertain them. So it's back to square one. So it's like, what do we do? On one hand, we want the customers, we want the cargo, but on the other hand, we are straining our people out. So I mean, we have we hear them, yeah. The management hears them, yeah. But it is still something that is, I don't know, because sometimes it's up to a point where we engage them. They go like, what is it you want? We've told you our problems, but yet nothing has been resolved. We want people, we want headcount, yeah. But then GHQ is like, no, because we are going to digitalization, and once it goes digitalization, you don't need as many people. Yeah. So like, there's a lot of balancing going around.
I see where you're coming from now. Okay. Now, this thing, it may not be very relevant to what we're talking today, but anyway, quickly try to address this.
So sorry. Yeah.
Very fine. Okay. Very quickly, what I would try to say is this is the time, yes, your engagement comes along. Frequent communication and engagement is very, very important at this point of time. Because like what you say, this is not something we can run away from. This new norm thing, we have been way into this about a year, but yet a lot of organizations, a lot of us are still adapting to this. It's not an easy thing. I would agree, like what you say, chicken and egg. If you don't do it, they're going to go to somewhere else. So this is a realization you need to bring on to your frontliners. So your line managers play a very important role in advocating importance of this. You need to train your line managers to motivate them. Perhaps we have to accept that all customers and say, hey, look here, my staff. That may not be good. So what's important is trying to or maybe not of I do understand that sometimes HR is a lot of issues because of yeah, sometimes staff they are taking responsibilities at home. So you call on God and say, no, it sounds very ideal and nice. But instead of calling everyone together, probably try to have train the line managers to have a one-to-one with them to be motivating during these times. Tell them that this is not going to be a thing which is going to be forever. Yes, it is a new normal. It is going to be there. We are not going to run away. But the stress which they are feeling now, most reports indications are the most stress due to the work from home changes. The Straits Times or the Stars came out with that news. But there needs to be a period of adjustment, and it's going to take some time and a lot of effort to do that. So those who make it, all right. Jessica says she can't hear me. Can you still hear me, or am I breaking? Hello. Can you hear me?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Miss
Oh,
Poon.
sorry. Yeah. I can hear you. Yeah.
All right, because Jessica says she can't hear me well. Okay, so as I said, so this is how you bring on the engagement. There's no, it's no easy shortcut way to do things. Okay, so that frequent communication, one-to-one communication is very, very important, and this cannot be HR's responsibility solely. So I always say that you must actually train your line managers, your middle managers, your supervisors to also put on the cap of doing HR's job. Okay, and incentivize. I mean, give them little
Okay.
incentives, which makes them good when they're working from home. Probably send some vouchers or something for them for food vouchers or anything. So it makes them feel good. Say, oh, my company is actually appreciating me for what I'm doing. Something like that, maybe. Right. So let's move on
We
to the
did.
topic today. Right. Did I answer you? I hope it's offline later if you need to. Right. Let's move on to the topic today about diversity inclusion. I think we digressed a little there. I would like to hear from all of you. I think we have Jessica on board. Hi, Jessica. Would you like to turn on your microphone so we can discuss a little as to how you bring on diversity and inclusion, equity into your organization, and what do you actually aspire to see? Can you hear me, Jessica? So anyway, okay, let's okay, you're looking for the mic, fine. All right. So as I was saying before, talking to Ms. Poon just now, I think the biggest challenge we all face in trying to advocate these or try to coin these strategies for this is the buy-in idea, from management, right? uh, it's nice to say, oh, we have equal, we are an organization of equal opportunity. We put that in our websites and all these things. But whether we are really doing it, that's the thing. Okay, it can be as simple as okay, we have three major races in our country, right? We have the Malays, we have the Chinese, and we have the Indians. Now, if there in an organization you have a minority there and you're having a cultural day, maybe you're having some kind of uh, an array of buffet of food and everything. The sensitivity towards one's culture and one's belief and the respect you should have to that particular or all races or culture is very important. Okay, so I used to work in a very way back. Um, Hi, Jessica. Jessica, you need to raise your hands. So Farid will actually invite you onto the stage and we can talk. Right. So I used to work in a very, I would say, Chinese-oriented organization. But the good thing is that the rest were also given a lot of voice to talk. Our opinions were actually taken into consideration when it came to the, although there were minority people, but this minority group were made to be very inclusive. So therefore, there was a sense of belonging um, to the organization. And when you have a sense of belonging, of course, productivity goes up, and you have more creativity and everything. So getting the management buy-in, how do you do this? Sometimes organizations are just not into it. Top-down buying idea is actually very important. So, and if you do not go them, this is where your data analytics is very important. Okay, you need to go them because what normally bosses want to see is, okay, if you're saying, okay, I want to have diversity strategies and initiatives and I want to bring this on, you need to actually justify this with numbers when you go to them, because you do not bring, it's not going to work. You know, they're just going to say it's a waste of time, because it does actually concern cost and budget when you want to bring on the strategies. But then again, you need to do your cost benefit analysis in terms of, if you see your retention rates, okay, if you see your top performers who are leaving, who don't feel heard, who don't feel there's inclusiveness in your organization. So these are figures you need to tap on actually to bring on to make your business case if you want to have these strategies on. Because without this, it's not going to happen. So exit interviews are very important. Exit interviews should not be merely treated just like a piece of paper or a mere process of SOP you just want to do, and then you just stash it up in your personal file. It should not be that. You should actually get to the root cause. So what happens is, when you don't actually get to the root cause and address this, what happens at exit interviews, even when top performers leave, they just don't want to talk. So when they don't want to talk, and you don't know where your flaws are, this is where you lose out as an organization, because you're not listening to your people. Okay, so I always say, in times of, especially during these times, during this time, difficult times, is communication and communication. So when you talk about communication, it's also letting them talk and you listen. It's not about being this side of the fence, being the HR or management, that we do all the talking. You do need to do more listening at this point of time. Okay. Right. We have Jessica. Jessica, have you found yourself there? You can raise your hand and you can actually come on board and share your thoughts here.
Hi, Miss Shoba. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Jessica. Good
Okay,
morning.
hi.
How are you today?
Yeah, hi. Good morning. Okay,
Good morning.
just to make it short. Okay, my company, we are looking towards we're actively towards looking towards like creating a fun and happy working environment. Okay, so of course things that you mentioned, inclusion, okay, is very important. It's part of the crucial factor here. But I would like to mention that when you say listening part, the communication part, okay, yeah, it's true that HR need to play a role in the listening and also provide feedback to the management. Okay, so the management part also must also be ready to hear the problem as well.
Of course.
Yeah, okay, so and then from there, how we can go about to solve the problems. Okay, so HR alone, okay, can't do much. Okay, but actually need the support from the management. Okay, so far my workplace, we are doing well. Okay, but we are trying to improve further.
That's good.
Okay, in creating fun and happy working environment. Okay. Yeah,
Alright.
that's all from me. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jessica. Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you, Ms. Soba and the rest. Thank you.
Okay, what are the initiatives actually, Jessica, that you actually bring on, and before you go off on it, we would like to hear from you. What kind of initiatives or strategies do you all have in your organization in order to make your place a more fun, happy, and respectable environment for everyone?
Okay. Before MCO time, we do line up with a lot of like activities. Okay. So now with the current 1 year, okay, not much of activities going on. So we what we are trying to do more now is be getting closer to the fellow colleagues. Okay, like if there's any birthdays, okay, promotions, okay, so we would like to do it more like more personal, okay, besides only like sending email, okay, on a congratulate text, okay. So that is what we are trying to get to do, okay, trying to get a much closer rapport. So so this is something like that you mentioned just now. The communication part is very, very important. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So we are doing towards that. We are doing more of that now.
All right.
The communication part.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you
Thanks
so much.
so much, Jessica. Thanks for
Thank
sharing. Okay. Right. Thanks, Jessica. So that was Jessica's sharing there. Would anyone else on the platform would like to share? I see Key here. There, Key has said most people are working in an environment without time frame. Okay, I think you were responding to Jessica here. You were giving your thoughts on to Jessica. So you see, basically, what I'm trying to say is, firstly, you need your management buy-in if at all that you want to bring on, and I would say that it is not a matter of if at all. It is not a nice to have idea anymore. It is a must-have idea to bring on diversity. Of course, listed company, you need to do your diversity reporting as per Bursa's requirement. As for the others, SMEs and others, you need to have this in order to be competitive, because more often than not now you would see that even your stakeholders, your customers or whatever, they also want to engage with organizations with values, which bring on values, which bring on some kind of community kind of feeling within your organization and outside of your organization. It's just not about your products. Okay, bringing on this is also it's an advantage. It's a competitive edge for your employer branding. Now, when I was doing recruitment in an organization, I would say this was a quite a it was confined to one religious background and everything. So I was trying to actually bring on a diverse. I was trying to actually bring on more other candidates onto board, other staff onto board to actually have some diversity. So when you are known to be, you're branded, okay, this is just like one form of race or religious background in this organization. That branding part, that goes off and people don't want to join. So when I called this girl to come on board, she was an excellent candidate. She had all her skills. She was really good for the job, and she did very well during the interview. But when she actually came on board, okay, when she came on board and she saw that she came for the interview and she looked at the office, she looked at the environment, and she went back and she was very blunt. She was very direct, and she said, "Okay, Ms. Shoba, I think and the offer was good. We were offering her very good actually. The package was good for her, but yet she declined the offer simply because she felt that she said, if I come on board, I don't feel included. So again, so where does this happen? that branding part of your organization is effective. So when your branding is effective, you don't get top talents in. So this is actually very, very important to bring about. So this is one of the factor which you can use to get your buying ideas from your management. Of course, I said about data. It's all about data now. It's not about going with gut feelings. Right from your hiring process, from your selection process, how you coin your job descriptions. I'll go a little bit more on detail on these factors when I'm having my HR to non-HR program, I think which is due this month. So those during those sessions, I'll be sharing more strategies on the hiring strategies. How do you coin your job description to be more inclusive by not using gender coined uh, gender words there. You don't use he or she or whatever. You try to use the word candidate to be more generalized. So that's feeling more inclusive. Now, if you start saying we want skills and experience and all these things, what happens is research has shown that women or female candidates tend to drop out because they want to actually tick all the boxes when you do your job description. So you got to coin your job description in a way that you have a range of talent applying for your jobs. So this is where you try to get it. So simple steps, you need to start simple, and you must understand that having diversity, inclusion, and achieving equity at your workplace, this is not a destination. It's a journey. It's a journey where you have to bring everyone along. And you must understand that in time to come, by 2025, you're going to have almost more than 50% of your workforce as millennials. And millennials look for diversity. Okay, as I said, when we talk about diversity, it's not just about cultural or religious background or whatsoever. It's also diversity in the form of the way you work, whether you have a more flexible working environment or not, whether you're an organization which listens to them, which hears them out on their opinion. So another thing, a simple example I can give is when you're devising your employee handbook or you're trying to make improvisation and these kind of things. Bring on everyone from every category of your staff into the meeting to understand what everyone's need is, rather than just to have the management team around. So that's also inclusiveness. Okay, right. We have 2 more minutes before we can end the session. And do we have? Yes, we have Saiful on board. Saiful, can you just raise your hand and come on board and quickly share with us what are your thoughts on this? Right, before we go off, we have 1 more minute. Can I see some raise of hands and your thoughts about this? Okay, I think we don't have Saiful there. Okay, before I wrap up today, I would actually like to thank all the 12 of you here. Hope you all have had a cup of coffee with you to Sembang Santai with me. And I do hope to have, and I think we're going to have more of these Sembang Santai thing in weeks to come. And I'll be talking more on different topics here. And thank you, Lata. Yeah, Shri Lata, is it? Okay, diversity is a vast subject. Yes, I would agree. It's a very, very vast subject. As I said, it's not a destination, it's a journey. So learn to take simple steps to it. be open mind to it, and it's no, as I said, it's no longer a nice to have thing. You need to have that in every process of your it can be your hiring process, it can be your customers, because you're having so diverse customers now all over. Like so it's really good that this needs to actually come on and be bold in addressing the issues. It's no longer a time for you to say, oh, it's sensitive, it should not be spoken and everything. You need to address, don't sweep it under the carpet. You need to address these issues. So with that, and I do hope that more of these things will be brought on to your organization. Thank you very much for all your participation, and would like to see you soon next week. Bye.